What's up, Math 8? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to be looking at multiplying and dividing with scientific notation, day 1. So we'll talk about mainly just multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation. Tomorrow is more of a focus on word problems. When we multiply or divide with scientific notation, here are some steps to follow. We will multiply or divide the numbers in decimals first, and then use properties to multiply, either adding exponents or dividing, subtracting exponents. Then we may need to rewrite in scientific notation if needed. A lot of that times we just need to make sure x is less than 10, but greater than or equal to 1, okay? So make sure we have this copied in our notes. If you need to, you can pause the video here. When you're ready to go on, let's go ahead and click play. So here are two quick examples that we'll start off with. The first one we have is 9.2 times 10 to the 12th over 4.6. So the first thing we would want to do is divide 9.2 and 4.6. So when we type that into our calculator, 9.2 divided by 4.6, we're going to get 2. And then the next thing we need to look at is our scientific notation and our exponents. Okay? We don't have any 10 to the 12th that we need to simplify with something here on the bottom. So we're going to keep that like it is and say times 10 to the 12th. This is already written in scientific notation, so this would be our final answer. Okay? The next one we have is 1.5 times 10 to the negative 8th over 6 times 10 to the 7th. Again, we would start by dividing our numbers. So 1.5 divided by 6 is going to give us 0.25. So that'll be the start of my number. Times, now that we have 10 to the negative 8th over 10 to the 7th, we're going to take negative 8 and subtract 7. We would get negative 15. So this is times 10 to the negative 15th power. Here's the only problem we have. This 0.25 is not in scientific notation. So in order to do that, we have to move it one place to the right. So that means we're going to be adding on an extra negative here to net to that 15 and making it negative 16. So this would need to be 2.5 times 10 to the negative 16th power. So when it is further away, we need to create a bigger exponent for it to be in scientific notation. Okay? Let's try some more. Let's go on to the next one. We have 6 times 8 times 10 to the negative 5th. So the first thing we would want to do is multiply our numbers. 6 times 8 is 48, and there are no other exponents we can combine 10 to the negative 5th with, so we will do 10 to the negative 5th. The only problem is now 48 is not in scientific notation, and in order to do that, we have to take our decimal and move it one time to make it 4.8. So yes, my decimal will be 4.8, but because I moved it to the left, I am going to add however many times I needed it. So I'm going to add one time to the left, which would make this a negative 4. So I'd get times 10 to the negative 4. So with left, we're going to add, but here we move to the right, so we subtract. So we took negative 15 and subtracted 1. That gave us negative 16, which is that exponent we chose for this one before. Okay? So let's try the next one. If you want to pause the video and try this one, go ahead. If not, let's try this together. 3 times 5 is 15. And we can combine those exponents by adding negative 5 and negative 2. We're going to get negative 7. Okay? Once we find that, we should notice that we've got some things to look at. Okay? We're going to double check this negative 7 just because I feel like I should have added them together, but now I'm wondering if I should have subtracted. So I could rewrite this as 3 times 10 to the 5th is 0.0 0, 0, 0, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 times 10 to the negative second is 0.05. 1, 2. So I'm going to test this out actually just to make sure I'm doing the correct rule. 0.00003, 4 zeros, times 0.05 gives me 0.00000015. So I've got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Zeros. Okay. Which means this should be in scientific notation 1.5 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power. So we were correct. I needed to move this back to the left, so I'm going to add 1 to negative 7, and I'm left with 10 to the negative 6th power. Okay. Let's go ahead and try these two. Again, I'm going to multiply 7 times 3, which is 21, times 10. Add your exponents to the 7th power. I need to make 21 be a 2.1, so that's moving it to the left, and left means to add. So 2.1 times 10 to the 8th would be my answer for this one. Over here, it looks like I need to divide my decimals first. That's 1.5 divided by 7.5. So 1.5 divided by 7.5 is 0.2. It looks like I'm going to have to move my decimal to the right. So just keep in mind, when I move it to the right, I'm going to end up subtracting. Okay. Negative 3 minus 2 is what I need to do with my exponents. I'm going to get 10 to the negative 5th. Okay. Now, what I'm going to decide is, because I'm already at 10 to the negative 5th, and because I need to move this decimal to the right to make that 0.2 be a whole number 2, because I'm moving it to the right, I'm going to subtract 1, because that's how many times I needed to move it. So I'm going to get 2 times 10 to the negative 6th power. Okay? That'll conclude our lesson today on operations with scientific notation. Come back tomorrow when we talk a little bit more about operations with scientific notation in the word problem format. Thanks, Math 8, and have a great day.